Hello, I'm Smoky957, and if you've ever wished to play Fallout as a strategy game, you've come to the right place. This is Old World Blues, a Fallout overhaul mod for Hearts of Iron 4, and today I will be starting a new playthrough as Eaglerock, a small country situated between Colorado and Utah, who are known to have a weird love for blimps. So, first I want to have a start looking at my national spirits. We have trading blimps, which even though increase my range dramatically and lower my production cost, also make them terrible in all forms of combat missions. And then I have ineffective army, which sure, my training will be done 30% faster, but the troops I will get will be absolutely rubbish, and so I'm going to make it a priority to get rid of this spirit as soon as I can. For research, they start out with very little done, only basic weapons, no real support equipment has been done, no vehicles, no robots, no land doctrine. But you do start out with combat blimps researched, and Eaglerock is the only nation I've played recently that actually starts with a small air force of 20 combat blimps. And as for the army, we start with 5 units, 4 militia and 1 infantry. I'm going to change them all to my infantry template, and just to prove my point at how ineffective the army is, you don't even start with a field commander. But luckily my first one should be free, so I'm going to take Mr. Floyd here, and he will be in charge of 1st Division. Okay, as for my construction, I have 2 available slots, so I'm building 1 armed factory and 1 civilian. Production I'm keeping the same the way it was loaded, and the templates I get that I'm going to work on is I have a standard militia that I can use for my garrisons. I have a 16-width pure infantry division, and I have a template for light special forces. The unit model is quite unique. I like it quite a lot, and I'm actually going to start training a unit straight away. That just leaves me with choosing our first focus, which will be a legacy of aviation. Although the existence of the United States Air Force is but a distant memory, part of it lives on through those in Eaglerock. Okay, a legacy of aviation. Eaglerock was founded after the Great War by members of the United States Air Force who were stationed in the numerous air bases in Colorado. Although Denver and the surrounding cities did suffer from nuclear bombardment, the Rocky Mountains served as a natural barrier to such destruction. The USAF remnants tried to return to the city after the nuclear fallout had cleared. However, scavengers, most notably the hangdogs, forced them out of the city. This led to the survivors travelling west and building a community in the relatively protected town of Eaglerock. As fate would have it, the town would have intact airfields that would later be used and maintained by its remnants. Aviation runs in our blood. Add Air Force heritage. Nice. Next we have Eaglerock. The town of Eaglerock is rather unremarkable, yet it is by this nature that it survived the Great War. The town of Eaglerock. When the United States Air Force remnants arrived in Eaglerock, the town wasn't entirely uninhabited. They were confronted by a group of settlers who were initially hostile towards them, but upon learning they weren't raiders, allowed them to stay. Inspired by the Free State succession movement before the Great War, This group made extensive preparations of canned food and arms, leading to them being able to survive the nuclear winter and subsequent raiders. Despite the anti-US government sentiment, the residents of Eagle Rock and the USAF remnants were able to come together with a common goal of survival in mind. They were even able to restore some semblance of democracy through the Eagle Rock Town Council. In these early years, what did the community focus most of their efforts on? Okay, scavenging expeditions, civilian workshop, rebuilding the town's infrastructure. I'm going to go for infrastructure. It has more benefits in the long run, because the half my infrastructure, the faster I'll be able to build anyway, and the more resources I'll be able to get. So, next focus, airship primacy. The descendants of those previously in the Air Force made the interesting decision to prioritize airships over planes. Airship primacy. When the residents of Eagle Rock began to construct aircraft of their own, they made the decision to prioritize the creation of blimps rather than conventional fixed-wing aircraft. They figured that the wasteland's ruined infrastructure wouldn't be able to support fixed-wing aircraft due to them requiring large flat runways. Additionally, airships were highly versatile and useful when their numbers were limited. They would be able to transport goods long distances, conduct aerial reconnaissance, and could even be used offensively. Constructing blimps, however, was a very resource and research-intensive process. How much emphasis did we put on such construction projects? Reasonable about research speed -5 for 120. Construction -5 and new. I've already got a squadron of blimps. I'm not looking for another one right now, so I'm going to take the standard airship R&D. Not going to lose that construction speed as well. I'm also not going to start a salvaging program now, as I only have 2 factories constructing anything, and I don't want to lose them for 90 days, so that will have to wait. My next focus will be our future. After a period of steady trade and neutrality, a threat looms in our not-too-distant south. Eagle Rock has always been a sheltered community in the wasteland, but there are those who seek to change that. Okay, political strife. Despite this relevant peace, not all what had been fine and dandy in Eagle Rock these past few years. People have been having doubts in regards to the Eagle Rock Council. It seems to them like the people haven't been being properly represented of late, and are calling for a more democratic process of appointing council members. There's also a sizable amount of people calling for the dissolution of the council altogether and replace it with a more effective leader. This effective leader appears to be a warmonger with a cult of personality hell-bent on reclaiming Colorado. Ultimately, it was decided that... Okay. Alright, these completes... Okay. Let's just minimize this, and I want to show you the focus tree. So what they're talking about now is there seems to be 2 ways of, or 2 main political choices that will decide the future of Eagle Rock. The Elite Council and People Council seems that it will keep you smaller, but you will be able to support bigger nations and help some of your neighbors as well, but you remain small. So a bit more of a passive playthrough. Pretty good for a multiplayer game, I think, if you wanted to support another nearby country. This airmarshall route is the more offensive one, which will give us war goals against a lot of our neighbors, and I believe, yes, we will be able to get the Colorado Patriot. Yes, the Colorado Patriot spirit as well, so we can reform Colorado. So I'm going to be taking the air marshal route. Maybe they'll be more interesting. And then on the right hand side here we have your traditional military side, but this focuses not just on your army, but also on your navy and very specifically on your air force. Then on the left hand side of the focus tree, we have a fairly unique tree which not only develops your nation, but also sets up some kind of trade routes with major nations, and California, so that's quite far away. So something quite nice to look into. But back to my choice. It is going to be, I'm going to choose, we would reclaim Colorado. Eaglerock completes the focus of the air marshal. So that's it, done. So we now ruling party, no public elections, popularity plus 25, and we get a commanding officer. Great. Now, can't remember exactly where it is, but it's down here somewhere. The focus I need to do to get rid of that ineffective army. So I'm going to start with reviewing the military. Okay, our focus reviewing the military is completed. Here is the air marshal now in charge of Eaglerock. I'm going to make him our commanding officer, so we have one. And I've been looking at things and I've decided how I'm going to play this playthrough. It might not be the most sensible way to play Eaglerock, but I think it's going to be fun. So far we've learned that Eaglerock are descendants of the United States Air Force. Now I don't know what unit used to be in this area, but I'm going to assume there was something elite. For the Air Force, I am going to go full out and use only blimps. Seems they love them so much, and I'm not going to use any normal planes except for vertibirds. I have noticed in the focus tree that we will get sophisticated air tech and vertibird schematics in the future, so I'll be using them as well. As for my army, I'm going to use power armor for my special forces, and I'm going to go along the refined warfare doctrine tree. Now I know with Eaglerock being so small, it will probably make more sense to use the trooper warfare line of conventional warfare, but I think I can make this work. And because I am saying that my power army units are some kind of elite airborne infantry, when I go to war, I'm going to try to do as many paradrops into enemy territory as possible, and then have my normal infantry link up with them. There's only one thing I haven't decided on yet, and that is if I should use ballistic or energy weapons. So you know what, I'm going to leave that up to all of you. So please leave a comment saying which type you think or you would like me to use, and the most votes will win. And also, if you are enjoying what you're watching so far, please like this video and maybe even consider subscribing to my channel for more. I have discovered that YouTubers really aren't joking when we say that each view, like and subscription helps spread our content around YouTube. But with all that done, I'm going to continue on with the focus hiring mercenaries, so I can make my way to moving the national spirit of an effective army. So here we are. Our people are not warriors, they're pilots. We should hire some mercenary companies to supplement our main army. So hiring mercenaries, focus is completed. It said we'll get decisions to hire mercenaries. Here we are. That's pretty expensive, but we get a unit leader and a unit of different types. Okay, good to know. Definitely can't afford that yet. But what I can do is go for a standing army to get rid of ineffective army trait. It says here, our town militia has worked up until now. However, it would not be effective when fighting somewhere other than eaglerock. So we now have a standing army. Let me check. Yes, that national spirit is being replaced by emerging army. So slightly better. What I do want to see is, yes, okay, we don't have the spirit effective army. This is our first war goal claim we can get. Next, I need to get rid of the national spirit trading blimps, which you do here. But first, well, I believe we do it here. But first, I need to get, here it is here. Replace training blimps with airships, yes. But first, I need to get a threat to training blimps has emerged as we continue to set up our branch offices, which means I need to start this side of the tree here with the first aerial merchant fleet. Everything has been double and triple checked. Our air crews, especially our pilots, are brimming with anticipation. It's time to officially launch our first aerial merchant fleet out into the wasteland. Let's hope this goes smoothly. We don't know what we might find out there. And start. Okay, setting up branch offices. Establishing branch offices and trade nodes throughout the wasteland is vital to the prosperity of eaglerock. They will allow airship merchants to buy better and sell items, or better buy and sell items and resources for eaglerock. Each branch office that is set up will provide us with an extra passive bottle caps income of 5k plus the trade nodes level, as well as unlocking certain focuses. Branch offices can either be set up through on-map decisions or the scripted GUI in the decisions tab. Okay, acknowledged. Let's have a look at that. Okay, so here we go, settling branch. Okay, so we need to do the focus, and then it seems to cost us manpower and some political power as well. Alright, and then saw something, we can also buy goods now. Buy weapons, medicine, population, supply consumption, extra breakthrough, and efficiency growth. So that's pretty nice, but I'm not going to waste my money on that now. Instead, I think for my first trade node, I'm going to set it up with California. So California trade is finished, and 2 decisions have popped up. One for my Utah office, which I suppose is where I am now. And then I will take the California branch office as soon as I can. If you were thinking I was just going to sit here now and open up one trade up after another, you are wrong. I am going to do something else, come back, something else, come back, until I can get rid of that, or until I can start this focus to militarize my blimps. So the next one I'm going to take is airship production lines to get, okay, what have we got here? Our trade merchants seem to have great success in regards to trade. So airship merchants, okay, can trade. However, with the extension use of the airships, they often need repairs, upgrades, and new replacements altogether. So I'll get 2 building slots. One of them will be an arms workshop and an extra piece of infrastructure. Something that also finished in between focuses is I finished researching my basic power armor. So I have created the eaglerock SAS squadron. It's the nice, only really elite unit I can think off the top of my head. Currently, it is just 15 width. Once I can research some support equipment, I'll add it in there. And I've decided, instead of training them, I'm going to be one by one changing the template of my starting 5 units, because basically I really like these names. So that's how I'm going to be doing it. Right, finally I have my first 100 political power, so I'm going to start off by getting my all-time favorite, which is the Golden Gecko Company, because it gives me extra power, political power, extra ability, and extra money. So, all good. Alright, new Canaan, Utah Trade Expedition Log. We are already acquainted with the town of New Canaan along the coast of Great Salt Lake in Utah. They have sent their Mormon missionaries and caravans to surrounding towns, which includes Eagle Rock. However, we're far enough away that they aren't able to influence our populace too much. Nevertheless, they will be a good trade partners with our improved access to them. However, there are rumors of a potential danger from a tribe called the White Legs to their south. I worry that trade may be less profitable in the future if these rumors are true. Okay, and acknowledged. What new decisions do I have? Still buying good, hiring mercenaries. Okay, nothing new. We've got Utah set up. Let me set up the California branch. And, oops, sorry, the Airship production line is finished as well. So now let me set up, let's go to Texan trade. So, a land of lawkeepers. And I get an extra military workshop, and I'm going to put that on power armor for now. Alright, we have finished getting ready for Texan trade. I want to move across to the other side, and I want to start to construct a training facility. We will need a dedicated location to train our soldiers in the variety of different environments and scenarios. So we'll upgrade from emerging army to mediocre army, and these will be our buffs that change. Okay, so I finished constructing a training facility. Now the California branch has still been set up, so I haven't even started on the Texas branch. So instead of doing opening another branch office, I'm going to take the opportunity to allocate some funds. In order to afford hiring top of the line mercenaries, we're going to need caps, lots of caps, and I'm going to get 120,000 bottle caps in 30 days. Shady Sands, the California Trade Expedition Log. The new California Republic, a shining example of democracy in the wasteland, or so it seems. We arrived in Shady Sands after flying over large swaths of land dedicated to herds of Brahmin. Good sources of meat and leather. They also have some rather extensive agricultural and industrial centers too. But of course, nothing is ever perfect. Setting up a branch office here was a royal pain. I'd never had to do so much paperwork in my life, never mind the exorbitant taxes. Well, that's what you expect from the NCR. New decisions. Okay. Ooh, here we go. Airship piracy. Okay. Our airship merchant expeditions are going fairly well. However, we have heard multiple reports of our airships being shot at by raiders or being hijacked when landing to trade. We must address this issue as fast as possible, or else it will persist and make our trade expeditions very unprofitable. Our engineers are already suggesting arming our airships and hiring mercenaries to protect them. So this is what we should immediately focus on. A ticking 60-day mission will continually remove manpower stability and war support unless this airship piracy comes to an end through completing certain national focuses. Airship piracy. Oy, that sucks. How long do I have? 15 days, and then I'll start on that. And let me set up my Texas branch office as well. Okay, I've finished allocating some funds, but instead of using them somewhere, I'm going to start the militarized blimps 30 days. Because where's this counter? Should be at the top, yes. 46 days until have to complete adapt designs and armor gondolas. Okay, so that's what I'm going for. Okay, I've started to militarize my blimps, so I'm going to take the next step, which will be adapt designs, and then straight after that I'm going to do arm and armor the gondolas. I have also finished researching makeshift fighting weapons, so I've added Power Armor Fire Team in to my template there, and I am going to choose yes, Faithful Henchman, so I can get in future command power gain, skill bonuses, and compliance growth speed. You only get this if your ruler is a ruler. Lone Star Texas Trade Expedition Log. While I didn't expect Texas to be this much of a downright friendly place, although it's still somewhat strange in some cases, there are a few good trade notes here, such as Houston and the TAA estate, but the most impressive one is Lone Star. The city's population has outgrown the pre-war infrastructure, so new buildings and roads have been built around the old city. Let's just hope this whole area of a provisional Texas Republic actually works out with the danger that is those super mutants armies down south. Okay, acknowledged. So adapted designs is completed, so only one more step to get rid of that piracy chain. And what do we have here? We already armed the crew of our airships with simple firearms, but we're going to need more. Mounted machine guns and explosive ordnance will surely deter any potential raiders. Okay, so during the break, Obros finally finished their fight against the Old Bones and won. Highland Watch is still battling off against Far Sun. Arm and armor gondoliers is finished, as well as my anti-tank rifles. I now have cleared both national spirits, so I can go for the war goals. I'm going to start off with weapon imports. If we are to fight, we require the means to do so. We need to purchase more guns regardless of who's selling them. I'll get 650 units of infantry equipment and at the cost of 30,000 caps. Not to worry about that, I've got quite a few right now. Then I just found, I don't think I've ever seen a Theorist like this before. I'm going to hire Darren Foster, who will give me land, doctrine, research speed, air technology, plus research speed, and arm experience game 0.015 daily, which is pretty fantastic. Okay, rifles is done. I'm not going to do dynamite because I'll get that via a focus. So instead I'm going to get healing powder. A downturn in piracy. Our efforts to militarize our blimps and hire mercenaries to prevent our airships from being attacked have been successful. It seems raiders don't stand any chance against our airships now. Acknowledged. So we remove the anti-piracy national spirit and we gain 5% stability, which is awesome. So I've finished my weapon import, so not only will I get guns for my current troops, but also I can start training. Next I want to do stoke militarism. You are not tired of remaining idle, doing nothing while the entire world moves forward? Following a council whose lethargy has only led to the stagnation of eaglerock's prosperity and spirit. So I'm going to get extra manpower, get extra war support, but I'm going to lose 10% stability, which is not great, but I don't have a choice. Okay, I'm done stoking some militarism, so now I want to do conquering armies. So we'll need some trained soldiers, not some haphazardly thrown together militia. So for the cost of 200 units of infantry equipment and 200 manpower, I will get 2 infantry units. Okay, conquering armies is completed. So now I at least wanted to get to one fight in this episode. So I'm going to do Western lands for the war goal. Our first target, Unta, will need unrestricted access to their farmland if we are going to fuel our growing war machine. And oh, I didn't get two. Oh, one's mine, and then there's two others, so they can add in there. I already have my army set up to invade, and under the commanding officer. And why? Because he has an attack power of 4, whereas my unit leader only has 1. So that's why I'll be using him instead. Okay, so Western Lands is completed, and we'll get to have a fight. Now, the focus I want to do next are these 3 here, so that I can get an additional 2 arms workshops. So starting off with repurposed trading blimps. Then I'll be going to war now, still with a excuse me, minus 5% division attack. So I'm going to hire the frontline operative, Peter Greer, so I can get more division organization and cancel out a division attack. Okay, repurposed trading blimps is done. War's going okay so far. I'm going to go making a breakthrough. So I'll get out of the technology dynamite, as well as get 75 units of it. Plain bullets alone won't do much good against concealed defenders in fortified position. We need to make use of explosives, namely dynamite. Okay, so I have made a breakthrough. I've finished researching dynamite. Now I want to get military industry. We cannot depend on trade alone. We need a means to produce weaponry of our own. It'll give me 2 extra arms factories. Okay, that is my military industry done. So 2 extra arms factories for me. Now, what to do next? Let me get rid of mediocre army and replace it with trained army, so I can get rid of that national spirit once and for all. And smoke signals is done, so I'm going to go for decode signals to give me an intel advantage. Okay, I developed a training regime. I'll wait on that for now. I want to do something over here. Let me get shipping infrastructure. We require crates and storage facilities for the many goods we have obtained. 2 building slots and 2 infrastructure. And that is the fight over. I'm going to take everything because it is mine now. And we'll carry on. Finished. I now want to continue working on my infrastructure so I can unlock these 3 building slots here. So I'm going to do this. Yeah, this one here. Fishing industries. Is that a good one? Yes, fishing industries is allowed. Eaglerock doesn't have many war resources that we can take advantage of. However, we sit along the upper Colorado River, so it would be wise of us to source food via fishing. Okay, so Eaglerock now has a fishing industry, and I am going to do the ports of Eaglerock so I can get some more building slots, 2 infrastructure, and become an economic node. So Eaglerock has become the center for air commerce in the wastes. It will become a well-known trade node through our branch offices set up throughout the wasteland. Okay, so the ports of Eaglerock have been established. I am now an economic trade node, and so the next focus I want to do is flying tribals, so that I can get a reduction in the coring costs for my new territory and increase my compliance and decrease my resistance target. So the Ute people place great importance on aviation, just like us. They'll fit right in, assuming they're one of the ones we haven't killed. Yep. So I've completed flying tribals. So now I was thinking about doing these 2 chains to get extra free equipment and research bonus, but I've decided that instead I'm going to develop the western farmland to get more population and another civilian workshop. And while I'm at it, I've finally saved up enough political power, so I will be changing from wasteland economy straight to well-equipped army. And I will also be getting my first land doctrine for my special forces. I always want to start off with this one, New Crossroads, so I get extra arm experience gain, capacity multiplier, and special forces training time. Not that I'm training any special forces right now though. So my men have returned from their expedition, and we have received the event Pandora's Box. When our men descended into the depths of the research facility scouted by Vanco Maverins, most of them never returned. A member of the party reports being ambushed by sentry bots soon after setting foot in the inner laboratory. Thankfully, a few brave soldiers made it home. Okay. So I think we lost 150 manpower there. And we get back only 40 units of infantry equipment, but we do get 40 army experience. So I finished developing the western farmland. So now I am going to go across and get some more supplies in my stockpile for when I add those extra pieces onto my infantry division. Alright, I'm receiving some indirect support. Now I want to get some direct support. And also, I have received my first ship in my navy, and you'll never guess who the Admiral in charge is. Albert Van Dorn. I just love that. Alright, I have finished researching basic weaponry, and that is where I'm going to end this episode off until you all tell me which side I should actually start researching. Either carry on with ballistic or change to energy weaponry. You guys just please let me know. In the next episode, I plan to carry on to increasing our territory, starting here with the dry blowers and just starting to make Eaglerock a more prominent place in the wasteland. But thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and goodbye.